There are days in life when heaven and earth seem to meet in the middle. When the roar of a Super Bowl crowd shares the stage with the quiet, steady power of God's healing touch. And on this episode of Smith History, I'm stepping back into one of those rare days. A day when the Green Bay Packers were finally marching toward the Super Bowl glory after 30 long years. And when my family was about to witness a different kind of victory, one not measured in touchdowns, but in grace. Welcome back, friends. I'm Brian Smith, your host and lifelong believer in two things: the resilience of the Green Bay Packers and the faithfulness of God, who showed up right when I needed him the most. Today's story blends football triumph on the field and divine protection off of it. Because on January 26, 1997, Super Bowl Sunday, while Brett Favre was preparing to launch rockets into the Louisiana sky, God was to carry my wife Patti through a medical crisis that could have changed our lives forever. And that, my friends, is where our story begins. A story that most family members have never heard about. Today I'm going back 30 years, Super Bowl 31. A day that was supposed to be about Green Bay glory, Brett Favre bombs, and the end of a 30-year championship drought. But instead, for me and my family, it was a day of fear, faith, family, and the kind of love that sits beside a hospital bed instead of a Super Bowl party. To understand why this day mattered so much, you have to understand what it meant to be a Packers fan in the 1990s. For 3 decades, Green Bay had wandered the football wilderness. No Lombardi, no Bart Starr, no glory, just a lot of maybe next year. And a fan base that stayed loyal anyway, because that's what Packer fans do. We're stubborn, we're faithful, and we believe in miracles, preferably ones involving a strong running game. But in 1996, something changed. The Packers were electric. Brett Favre was in MVP form. Reggie White was rewriting defensive scripture. Lambeau Field felt alive again. And I had Brett Favre on my fantasy roster that year, which in the Smith family was basically the equivalent of holding the nuclear codes. Fantasy football in our house wasn't just a hobby. It was a blood sport. Think Hatfields versus McCoys, but with more statistics and fewer shotguns. Every Sunday was a family feud with box scores. So when Green Bay punched their ticket to the Super Bowl, I wasn't just excited. I felt spiritually elevated. I had waited 30 years for this. I have driven to Green Bay twice, walked through the neighborhoods, toured Lambeau Field, visited Lombardi's home, and I even sat in the same church pew where the 1966 team prayed. I was on the Packers season ticket waiting list. That's a list so long, I've only got 30 years to go before I get my season tickets. This was supposed to be my day. A day to celebrate with Patti and 7-year-old Marcus, who was just old enough to understand that Dad's happiness depended upon the men in green and gold. But life had other plans. I expected to wake up on Super Bowl Sunday, 1997, excited about my team, the Green Bay Packers, ready to hoist their first Lombardi trophy in 30 years. The last time they had won the Super Bowl, I was 8 years old. But at 5 a.m., Super Bowl Sunday, Patti woke up screaming, not complaining, not talking loudly, screaming. She was clutching her left calf, her bad leg, the one with the long history of blood clots, thrombophlebitis, and trouble, dating back to her teenage years. Patti never complained. She worked long shifts at a skilled nursing facility, 8 to 12 hours on her feet, no breaks, no shortcuts, no self-care. She took care of Marcus. She took care of me. That's arguably a full-time job in itself. She took care of everyone. But she didn't always take care of herself. So when she cried out in pain that morning, I knew something was wrong. Very wrong. I had to carry her to the car. She needed a wheelchair to get into the hospital. Marcus, only 7, watched his mother cry for the first time in his life. And that alone was enough to break a kid's heart. The image on today's podcast cover tells the story of that day. Marcus was scared for his mother. For those who don't know, a deep vein thrombosis is a blood clot that forms in the deep veins, usually the legs. It's dangerous because it can break loose, travel through the bloodstream, and lodge in the lungs, causing a pulmonary embolism, a life-threatening emergency. Risk factors: being on your feet constantly, stress, a history of clots, and in Patti's case, a diet consisting of salads. Healthy, yes, but not exactly a recipe for stable clotting factors. It was the perfect storm that had been brewing quietly, and now, on Super Sunday, it had arrived. The CT showed the clot had moved from her calf to her groin. The doctor said it was the size of a silver dollar. A clot that size in that location is a ticking time bomb. If it moved again, it could go straight to her lungs. I was a nurse. I knew exactly what that meant. Patti was admitted. She would stay in the hospital nearly 2 weeks. And just like that, the biggest football day of my life became the scariest medical day of our lives. While we waited for lab results and clot-busting medications, the world outside kept spinning. 1997 was a different time. Looking back, it seems like a gentler time, a time before 9/11 reshaped everything. Clinton was president. The biggest show on TV was ER. The movie Titanic hadn't even come out yet. Movies like Men in Black and Good Will Hunting were just around the corner, and the internet made noises like a robot choking on a harmonica. My parents were still alive, living in Bucyrus. Life felt stable, predictable. And then, like life often does, it reminded us that nothing is guaranteed. After 12 hours at Patti's bedside, I finally went home. There was no Super Bowl party, no snacks, no family around me, and no cheering crowd. Just me, a small TV, and the phone beside me so Patti and I could talk through the game. That was until she drifted off to sleep mid-sentence. This was before cell phones, before texting, before FaceTime. Just 2 people connected to a corded phone and a whole lot of fear. But I did watch the game because I had waited 30 years. And Super Bowl 31 did not disappoint.
Back to throw his first one. Going deep, has a man open. Andre Rison does the dance in and far cuts it.
He ran one in himself. Helmet raised high like a warrior who'd waited his whole life for that moment. Desmond Howard returned a kickoff 99 yards for a touchdown, sealing his place in Packers lore and earning MVP honors. The final score was Packers 35, Patriots 21. Green Bay was back on top. Lombardi's trophy was coming home. And I celebrated alone, quietly, gratefully, because the real victory wasn't on the field. Patti recovered, slowly, carefully. It could have gone the other way, easily, but it didn't, because God wasn't ready for Patti yet. Marcus and I needed her more than heaven did. And that's the moment, the truth that separates the Smith from the myth. Life isn't about the size of your TV or the snacks on your table. It's about who's sitting beside you and who you can't imagine losing. So here's what separates the Smith from the myth. Football is great. The Packers were great. Brett Favre's arm was great. But none of it matters more than family, health, and the people God places in your life to walk beside you through the storms. Super Bowl 31 gave me a championship. But January 26, 1997 gave me something better. A reminder that love is fragile. Life is unpredictable. Championships fade, seasons change, and even the brightest stadium lights eventually go dark. But God's healing, His protection, and the love of family, those are the things that endure, the things that save us. This is Brian Smith reminding you that the greatest triumphs aren't won on the field, but in the moments when God steps in, steadies our hearts, and shows us what truly matters. In the end, the Packers brought home a trophy, but the great physician brought Patti home to us. And that's the kind of victory no team, no season, no Super Bowl can ever match. Patti made it. We made it. And the Packers won. But the biggest winner that day, Super Bowl Sunday, 1997, I think it was me and Marcus.